the Longsword. I did a video going over Ratataska's issues with WoW's implementation of the weapon, and I think we did a pretty good job of going over the changes the weapon has had throughout the series, talking about the issues people are having going from the 5th gen to the 6th, ironically being similar to those from the 4th to the 5th, and the fact that weapons are constantly changing, some for the better and some for the worse. But there's one thing I missed out in that video, which many of you pointed out, and it's finally time to address that. And that is the Valor Longsword, and how its addition to the game shaped the Longsword in the 5th gen. But firstly, I gotta say, my bad. I don't really know how I forgot to add it into my script. I recorded footage of me going ham in the mode, but after my video files got corrupted, the thought kinda left my head. And now, I'm left in a spot of controversy that every YouTuber eventually finds themselves in. Do I double down or take back those words? Will I raise to the clouds or fall into the depths of YouTube's clickbait hell? Nah, forget that. I'm from London. All I know is clouds. And not that posh Royal English London, that bottled water London, raised in the streets. A Lance Main from the ghetto. Talk about your nightly oxymoron. Nah, to be honest, the only streets I knew were the Monster Hunter Market streets. I still remember back in uni playing 3U around 2012, summertime. Everyone's outside having barbecues, just hanging out. My flatmates asked if I want to go outside with them, and I'm like, nah, I got some important work to finish. Noobs. That Morales ain't gonna kill himself. Anyway, Valor mode. The mode to choose your way through the game known as Generations Ultimate. The game that was the catalyst that instigated many changes in Monster Hunter's combat. Adept dodges, aerial attacks, and yes, even the almighty Valor style itself. Now, this video is a follow-up to the Longsword one, but it's more than just that. Ratataska talked about philosophy in the Longsword and how it changed, and I've always been interested in that myself. But after doing some analysis, I've discovered the truth of the game design behind modern day Monster Hunter and how Valor Longsword is at the center of all of it. So buckle up, cause this ain't no normal ride we're going on. This ain't just about Valor, it's about GU as a whole and the journey to Wilds. So, let's go. What is Valor style? Otherwise known as, in the land of the weebs, Brave style. Nah, I'm joking. I'm pretty sure most weebs live in these locations. It was added into Generations Ultimate alongside Alchemy style, adding up to a total of 6 different styles. But there was something different about Valor style. Something I don't think even Capcom foresaw happening. A fact that separated it from the other styles. What is this holy fact, you may be wondering? Well, it was broken. Yeah, Valor reigned supreme. No monster was safe from this menace. Even the power of the EX monster wasn't safe from the power of Valor. Even if you haven't played the game, I'm sure you've heard the legends of Valor style. Strong enough to take the strongest monster in Monster Hunter lore and even Goku himself. But what made Valor style so broken? Well, counters. Kinda, but not really. We have to explain. So, what's Valor about? By choosing Valor style, you gained a new ability when sheathing your weapon called the Valor Sheath. When putting your weapon away, you'd instead get into a Valor Sheath stance, which stalled the process by a couple of seconds. And if you were attacked during those frames, you dodge the move and take damage. How much damage did you take? Well, it depends on your defense and the strength of the monster. But overall, you didn't take as much damage as you would have. So that was a benefit. The downside was holding the sheath drained stamina and even slowly your health. So it's not as if you could stay in the mode forever. In fact, that makes me wonder, how long can you actually hold on to a Valor Sheath for? Wait, what? Valor Sheath can't kill you? I had no idea. So as long as you have the stamina, you can keep the Chad pose up forever. Alright, enough side quests, let's get back on track. Valor had a gauge that would fill up the more you attacked. You were basically on training wheels until you realized your true potential. And damn, what a potential it was. Got me scared just thinking about it. Valor basically gave the hunter a steroid boost, unlocking new attack patterns that were devastating. The thing that kind of balanced it was you had to build up to the mode, and for the most part, weapons kinda sucked without it, but I cannot understate how strong Valor Dodge is. An ability is so strong, even Dragon Ball power scalers won't be able to define its strength. The ability to hold your sheath and then to dodge any move is insane. Is the monster's move unblockable? No problem, you can Valor Dodge it. You have no time to super dive? No problem, you can still Valor Dodge it. Did you forget to take out the chicken to defrost for your mom? No problem, you can still Valor Dodge it. Actually, I'm not sure about that one. maybe Valor's style does have some limits. Due to its strengths and unique playstyle, it became quite popular. But there are 3 weapons specifically I want to highlight that the style became popular in: the Greatsword, Heavy Bowgun, and you guessed it, the Longsword. Now, going over the 2 other weapons will come in handy for later portions of the video. So, I hope you will stick with me on this one because we're going to go deep into the psyche of the monster on the team. Now, what made Valor Greatsword popular? Well, once in the mode, you can do the most awesome unsheathing move I have ever seen. I mean, just look at my hunter. The way he handles that blade even gets me excited. The speed at which you unsheath your blade is incredibly fast. And not only just that, once you hit, doing a Valor sidestep with the Greatsword was OD! These factors combined made Valor Greatsword so much fun. Even to this day, I still see comments of people asking for the return of the greatest Greatsword I've ever laid my hands on. And I wonder, why haven't we seen that yet? Next, Heavy Bowgun. Now, if you've been following me for at least 90 seconds, you may have realized I don't really give a crap about ranged weapons in Monster Hunter. So I know shit when it comes to Heavy Bowgun. So I had to go through the pain of watching videos and reading pages of what the Heavy Bowgun actually does different in Valor. Somehow, I survived that encounter, and I count my blessings every day. One of the new things they added was Siege Mode, allowing you to increase your fire rate, enabling for some of the fastest speedruns you'd ever see. And the other, improved mobility. While in Valor Mode, the Heavy Bowgun user would get an extra speed buff to run even more effectively like a pussy. She's a bow user, guys. Look at her, she's hiding up here. And she's not just bowing, she's using Valor style. What is this?
What? You know, the monster's on that side, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just liking
it
over here.
You know how much stamina you got, though?
I'm just walking normally. What do you mean? You're not that fast.
You're leaving your chat person Cyber there. Ooh.
Ah, don't worry. Cyberboy's got this. He's a G. Cyberboy didn't really have it in the end. Oh, Cyber died. And if you want to see more Heavy Bowgun footage or dual blades, check out Lady Aurora over on Twitch. I did a collab stream with her a couple months ago and it was hella fun. Links are in the description down below. She plays Rise, World, and GU. So yeah, check her out. And anyone wondering why I'm talking about how powerful Valor Heavy Bowgun is while fighting an Azeroth? I freaking suck with this weapon, man. Like, holy crap, I ain't built for this life. But anyway, back to the video. Now, adding all these together came up to one big ass mistake. I don't even know how Capcom didn't see it coming. Like, holy crap. Yeah, balancing wasn't really a main focus in GU. Being a celebration game and all, balancing different ways of play wasn't really on Capcom's mind. I'm sure it would have been possible to bring it more in line in the end, but it didn't happen. Well, never mind that, let's get into the Longsword. As always, you're pretty limited without Valor mode being active. You couldn't even finish off a Spirit Slash. Bushido. And fade attacks are limited. But once you get into the mode, you get access to an upgraded Spirit combo, which even had a counter on startup. You can kind of see the similarities between Valor and 5th gen counters now. On top of that, when in Valor mode, your Spirit gauge buff will turn blue instead of white, giving you different modifiers. The on-demand evade and additional counters made Valor Longsword a beast in this game, and it seemed like Capcom enjoyed the changes it made to the weapon and used it as a stepping stone for the 5th gen's Longsword. So, going back to my first video on the topic, some will ask, Nova, GU introduced a lot of combat philosophy changing ideas into Monster Hunter. It wasn't World that the Longsword shifted focus, right? And maybe also, why didn't you have a problem with Valor as you did with 5th gen's Longsword? Well, to answer the first point, Generations is a celebration game. It was built to celebrate the series going 10 years strong at a time, with monsters from all gens, maps and weapons, infamous for low textures and questionable AI at times. Balance wasn't the main focus when it came to the game, even though I wish it was. I think Capcom saw it as an opportunity to play around with the combat system overall of Monster Hunter, with new wacky and crazy ideas. But beyond that, a better answer is, for both questions in fact, we had player choice. The new counter additions weren't baked into the Longsword. If you didn't like the playstyle, you didn't have to play it. You had 5 other styles to choose from. Well, 4 if you count Bushido style as a counter style. In fact, I've only recently tried out Valor Longsword for the first time, back when I was getting footage for part 1. And trust me when I say, I was pretty bad at it. Anyway, going into World, the changes were baked into the weapon. Instead of being an optional branch of how you could play, it was an assisted method of how you should play. And we all know how absolutes make people turn into rebels, and rebel against the system I did, baby. 5th gen longsword never. A couple of weeks ago, before this longsword controversy started, I was just, mind my own business, and I had an epiphany, which led to this burning question: why did Capcom only develop Valor style into the longsword? I mean, we just went over how popular the heavy bowgun and greatsword was, so why didn't any of those changes get into World? I've seen comments from people wishing and hoping for Valor Greatsword, but as of now, it's a timeline out of our reach. Now, there isn't much data on popularity of weapons before Monster Hunter World, so using its popularity as a reason wouldn't be fair. So I'm guessing that Capcom felt the playstyle of the weapon was pretty basic and used it as a stepping stone for World. The popularity of Valor Longsword also couldn't really be used as a reason, because World came out around the same time as GU did. Even being released earlier in the East, there wouldn't be enough time for Capcom to reasonably get feedback to design a weapon around at the time of World's release. And even if there was, why not the heavy bowgun and greatsword? And even beyond all that, why the longsword? So far, the only weapon with counters without styles and arts was the lance. So in a sense, wouldn't the second best option be the gun lance? I mean, using critical thinking, that's the most logical decision, right? So out of 13 non-counter weapons, the only one they decided to add counters to was the longsword, huh? And out of those 13, only 5 can block, yet still the longsword got the counters? I'm not even trying to hate, I'm just saying that doesn't really seem right to me. Was it favoritism or something else? Did they see the weapon as a blank slate to add to? Or did Capcom devs get drunk one night on sake, saw their great grandfather's katanas on the wall, and started to relive the old Shogun days? I'm not quite sure, but I kinda like that Shogun idea. And after that reenaction session, 5th gen longsword was born. You know I love my controversial statements, and we're about to build up to another one. After doing some analysis, I believe World's longsword was the test subject of what we know as Monster Hunter combat of today. The popularity of the weapon in World was crazy, even currently being stated to be at 23% of usage of the 14 weapons. Now that's insane. It's consistently been as popular since the release of the game. I believe this boost in popularity led Capcom to having the thought process that counters equal good, and thus the longsword was the catalyst for the changes we see today. Moving into Rise, every weapon apart from the light bowgun got a form of counter or hyper armored move to deal with monsters. And then Sunbreak took that and cranked it up to 11. And now in Wilds, we have counters baked into the weapons. Counters are here to stay. GU was Capcom's playground. They threw in many different ideas, tested with what worked and didn't. And the ones that did shaped the future of Monster Hunter combat. Another example of this is aerial combat in Rise. Many things the dual blade, short shield and gun lance do arisen from the style known as aerial. The iframe dodges we see in bow, dual blades, and the perfect parries emerged from the almighty Bushido style. But in my opinion, Capcom weren't confident enough to bring those changes to a flagship game in full. So like I said, the longsword was the all-spark that bridged GU's ideals of being in a portable series to the rest of the franchise. Going back to Valor Greatsword and Heavy Bowgun, it's highly likely the reason they didn't get adapted into World was due to Capcom not wanting to risk introducing too many changes into a flagship game. The longsword was the blank slate they needed to test where the future of Monster Hunter combat would go. And I think the additions we see in Wilds is a conclusion they strongly believe in that vision. And if you disagree with that, hey, don't shoot the messenger. You can leave a comment down below to express how you feel. Or if you're liking the video so far, consider subscribing and leaving a like. Support is always welcome. I imagine going forward, counters will be a staple for the series. The community have tasted the power of Valor and they won't easily let go of it. Normally, this is where a normal person would end this video, but we ain't done yet. Since before Wilds was announced, there were people hoping and praying for Monster Hunter World 2, as they'd call it, not fully understanding how Capcom handles the Monster Hunter series. So let's briefly just go over that. You have the numbered series, which I'm going to call flagships, which introduces the generation. And then the portable series, who adds flair and special mechanics. The flagships solidify the themes of the generation, while the portable is more experimental with ideas. These themes have changed as of late. There isn't really a dedicated portable console anymore. Also Rise, which would have been classified as a portable game, was on every system. Monster Hunter is changing. Now in Wilds, the game some people expected to be World 2, so far hasn't turned out to be so. Then that begs the question, if it's not World 2, what is it? Rise 2? Or even DOS? Well, it's kind of Warriors Gendos. In an interesting way, Capcom is adding key elements from other games to build a new one. I did a poll. asking if the gameplay was more like World or Rise, or its own thing. Most people voted it was a mix of World and Rise, and there was one chat in the comments who ripped GU, and my friend, you're onto something there, but it's not the full picture. The second most vote was World, and when people say that, they normally mention the pace, which I do agree to some extent, although I honestly think people voted that way because it's what they wanted to see rather than what they do see. From what we've seen so far, Wilds doesn't emphasize that closely to what World focused on. For example, tracking isn't really a factor in this game. Once you find a monster, you will always know where they are from then on. Thus, tracking is basically a dead system, unless they limited it in the demo, and I don't really see a reason for them to do that. In the 10 hours of me playing the demo or so, I think I only found about 4 tracks, but let me know down below if you guys had a different experience. And then onto the combat itself. I mean, look at this move right here, the dual blades. That kind of looks like an adept evade to me. Or these perfect parries, also a sense of adept. Bow jumping into the air, the Greatsword upswing art, or just dashing forwards towards the monster of your weapon like that. Wait, is this really GU too? Nah, impossible. I don't have styles. There's no way to switch my playstyle like that. Never mind, it's just me, right? Well, that's what I thought at first, till I started playing the sword shield. Some people were complaining the weapon has been killed, and I kind of thought the opposite. It felt pretty good for the most part. Apart from the leap attack looking so goddamn ugly. Like, what the hell is this? How do we go from sword shield holy strike from the heavens domination to flimsy 4-year-old swordplay crap? If only there was another way to leave. Wait, hang on. You can do that? Sword shield is saved, my guys. Yay! But wait, why is it assigned to holding shield and pressing an attack button? I mean, how do I go from a block to sliding across the ground for an attack? Something about that doesn't seem right. And that's when it all clicked. All these new moves, the focus mode, changes and additions to weapons. Some people questioning decisions with inputs and so on. Wild's combat is switch skills without the switch skills mechanic. Instead of a system allowing us to switch moves, the Capcom team just decided to add them all in. Some in weirder places than others. And this is why some weapons have so many more inputs than they ever had before. The leap attack for the sword shield was a switch skill in Rise. Instead of replacing the standard leap attack, it's now an option from an unexpected place. The hammer's meteor spring in GU is now the mighty charge. Lance now has a triple poke, but only on the mid poke combo, not on the high. And the Greatsword art from GU is now an offset attack for the weapon in Wilds. It's kinda cool, but also a bit weird. The placement of the Greatsword one, yeah I get. That move counting monster back makes sense to me. But the sword and shield and lance ones, not so much. It feels as if Capcom really liked the ideas of switch skills, arts and styles, and slowly are trying to fit them into weapons, but the way it's done at times feels a bit odd. Let's look a bit deeper into the lance. Why is it possible to triple mid thrust, but not triple high thrust? Honestly, back in my brain over it, I can't really come up with much apart from Capcom saying, I don't know, it just kinda ended up that way. And that's because they wanted to attach the old counter we used to have to the end of the high thrust combo. But apart from that fact, I can't really see any other reason they differ in how they finish their combos. Capcom just ran out of places to put the move. And it's the same with sword shield and the leaping attack, they just had nowhere else to put it. Now with that all said about World's combat, even though I think some of these decisions are weird, I don't hate it. I'm quite excited to see how the full picture looks like in game. I'm adapting to the launch changes and looking forward to testing it out in the full release to see how it truly handles in game. But there was one thing people were complaining about when it came to Rise, and that was about the amount of counters and iframe dodges in the game. Yet now, every weapon practically has one. Yet I haven't seen many people complain about that. So on this matter, I'm asking you the viewer, let me know what you think about counters and iframes in this game down below. Some called the ones in Rise broken and made the game easy, yet at least most of them were on a cooldown. While in Wilds, the dual blades for example, or the bow, as long as you have the stamina to do so, you can perform an evade at any time. And if you don't have one of those, you have the offset attack. Not only being able to defend yourself, but you're able to knock the monster right back on the ass. Now that is strong. It's not the easiest thing to perform, but with a bit of practice, I imagine we'll be terrors on the battlefield. I've seen others echo similar thoughts, and have said that in the full game, monsters will have to be crazy to handle the power we have at our fingertips. That power that first found a glimmer of itself in GU, radiating itself over the longsword in World, then sharing its bliss with others in Rise, and now in Wilds, solidified itself as a staple in the Monster Hunter formula. Slowly and slowly now, the flagship games are introducing the identity of the portable games. And in my opinion, this all stems from the Valor Longsword. But why is that? Why does Capcom keep coming back to GU? While writing the script for this video, I think I truly understand why Capcom made Generations and Generations Ultimate. It wasn't just to celebrate the series for its 10th birthday, it was a dream Capcom had. A game where they could add their ideals of where gameplay could go in the future. A place where they could put their creativity to its maximum and not have to worry about offending some of their fanbase's vision of Monster Hunter. There's a clear reason why we see so many callbacks to GU in Vice's combat. There are plenty of arts that have been refined for that game's mechanics. Things such as Sodogeki, or the revamped Round Slash, Blast Dash, or Brimstone Slash, Spiral Slice, and the incredible Sakura Slash. The game is full of them, and it doesn't stop there. We've already pointed them out in Wild, taking those ideas and running them back, crafting them to fit more suitable for the mainline series. Overall, it's interesting how Monster Hunter has been going. I never thought we'd end in a timeline where we would see a depth of rage in a flagship game, but here we are. Wilds is a mix of the generations before it, showing that Monster Hunter is embarking on a new venture into not only unknown lands in lore, but also in reality of the series. I'm excited to see where they'll take us in the future.
Look, this shit easy, ain't no pressure, ain't no stress. I can do this in my leisure. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. Go. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. Ain't no pressure, I can do this in my leisure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar, ayy. Shit easy, ain't no pressure, ain't no stress. I can do this in my leisure. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar, ayy. Look, this shit easy, ain't no pressure, ain't no stress. I can do this in my leisure. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. No aggressor, but I'm down to take that measure. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. It's whatever, ayy. Ain't no pressure, I can do this in my leisure. That's right. It don't matter, it's whatever for the cheddar. Ayy, ayy.
Cut, check, that's a wrap. Run the edit, my life, my movie. I'll say when to roll the credits. Cut, check, that's a wrap. Run the edit, my life, my movie. I'll say when to roll the credits.